This is not a video about how to forecast. But if you really want to improve your forecasting, it's critical to have a meaningful, actionable measure of forecast performance. So this is a video about how to measure whether or not you're forecasting well, and specifically that the most popular metric, forecast accuracy, means precisely nothing. I will explain why this is the case, which will involve some statistics. I will also outline a much better measure. This will require a romp into telecommunications and the concepts of signals and noise. So buckle up for a few minutes and enjoy the ride. It's worth it. In a previous video, I said that I was a control engineer, but in fact, that was my second career. 50 years ago, I was a telecommunications engineer in the UK Civil Aviation Authority. Early telecommunications systems relied on thermionic valves before transistors took over, and these circuits generated a lot of background hiss or noise.
2815, good day, Alaska 1282.
Alaska 1282, Seattle Center, climb and maintain the level 230.
Yeah, well, let's go down.
I'm sorry, last aircraft again? Last aircraft, say again?
Center, Alaska, 1282, declare an emergency, we're descending down to 10,000, 50 pressurized.
In case you didn't catch it,
2815, good day, Alaska 1282.
Alaska 1282, Seattle Center, climb and maintain the level 230.
Yeah, well, let's go down.
I'm sorry, last aircraft again? Last aircraft, say again?
Center, Alaska, 1282, declare an emergency, we're descending down to 10,000, 50 pressurized.
and this is what she meant by, we'd like to go down.
A chunk of plane the size of a fridge just fell off. The cabin has instantly depressurized, taking with it a boy's shirt off his back, multiple mobile phones, the side paneling and insulation around the gap, the seat covers and cushions from the seats next to the hole. We need to get down to 10,000 feet before we all die.
In air traffic control, when you really want to hear what someone is saying, what you get instead is,
Clearly, Alaska, or Seattle, Alaska, 1282, we just depressurized, we're declaring emergency, we need to descend down to 10,000.
in 1948, part-time juggler and full-time mathematical genius Claude Shannon started to solve this problem. Shannon formulated that the transmission could be broken down into two components, the signal and the noise. By doing this, clever mathematics and signal processing could be used to suppress the noise and enhance the signal, saving multiple lives in emergencies. He also, on the way, created the entire subject of information theory and laid the foundations of mobile phone transmission, DVDs, video streaming and zip files, pretty much the whole modern world. Claude Shannon is my hero, that you have probably never heard of. This is pure noise, the audio variety. But actually, it's 44,100 random numbers per second being played through a speaker. Zooming in to 4 milliseconds, we get the equivalent of 3 years of weekly demand data. Still totally random, no trends, no cycles, no events, so no patterns. Forecasting the next number is simply a crapshoot. When you roll 2 dice in a game of craps, the average roll will be 7, so this is the perfect forecast. It will actually land on 7 on just 6 out of every 36 rolls, that's 17%. On the other 83% of rolls, there will be a forecast error. The average absolute error will be 1.94, 28% of 7. So a perfect forecast will have 72% accuracy. How about rolling only 1 dice? The average and the correct forecast will be 3.5. it will never actually land on 3.5. On 100% of rolls, there will be a forecast error. The average absolute error will be 1.5, that's 43%. So a perfect forecast will have 57% accuracy. Fewer dice equals less accuracy. There are 1,296 permutations of 4 dice. The most likely roll is 14, which has 146 permutations and so will occur on 11% of rolls. With the perfect forecast of 14, the average absolute forecast error will be 2.74, that's 20%. So the perfect forecast will have 80% accuracy. So 1 dice, 57% accuracy, 2 dice, 72% accuracy, 4 dice, 80% accuracy, all equally meaningless. So what is accuracy measuring? If it's not accuracy.
Statistics ahead! Statistics ahead!
A legal dice is pure noise, no signal. And you may have noticed the results of rolling 4 dice has a familiar shape, a bell curve. It's starting to be a normal distribution. The standard deviation of the 4 dice bell curve is 3.4. This is a measure of the spread of the random numbers in the distribution. The coefficient of variability, standard deviation divided by the average, is 24%. Note how this and the coefficient of variability of 1 and 2 dice are close to the forecast error. The so-called forecast accuracy is simply 1 minus the forecast error, which is itself a simplified approximation to the standard deviation. All we are measuring is how much noise is in the demand data. When there is only random noise in your demand data, the correct forecast is simply the average, and the coefficient of variability of your forecast error will simply be the coefficient of variability of the demand noise. Suppose you have a quirky customer who rolls 2 dice every week to decide their order quantity. The best forecast you can make is 7. The coefficient of variability of your demand will be 34%. And your forecast error coefficient of variability will also be 34%. This cannot be improved upon, though there are ways to make it worse. But then the customer changes things. For the first 26 weeks of the year, they roll 2 dice. But for the second 26 weeks, they roll 4 dice. The average annual demand is now 10.5. The coefficient of variability of demand is now 44%. If you don't change your forecasting approach, your forecast error coefficient of variability will also be 44%. But knowing the pattern or signal in your customer's ordering process, you can do better. A signal is anything that makes a statistically significant change to the average for a statistically significant period of time. For the first 26 weeks, the average is 7. But for the second 26 weeks, the average is 14. That is a statistically significant signal. By splitting your forecast into off-season and on-season, your forecast error COV reduces to 28%, though your demand COV has not changed. So by forecasting the signal, your forecast error COV is now much less than your overall demand COV. This reduction in COV, when you've correctly forecast a signal, is the only good evidence that you're forecasting well. The reduction is termed forecast value add, COV. We tend to illustrate it with an XY bubble chart that compares demand COV with forecast error COV. The yellow zone is zero value add, Forecasts make no difference to COV. The green zone is positive value add. Forecasts are finding signals. The red zone is negative value add. Forecasters are just guessing and making things worse. So when your customer is using just 2 dice, there is no signal. The skew would sit in the yellow zone with 0 value add because that is the best that is possible with random demands. Bringing in the seasonal signal increases the COV, but a flatline forecast would still be 0 value add. It always is. If, however, you build the signal into your forecast, your skew will move down into the green zone with positive value add. In this case, 36% value add, the percentage reduction in variability hitting your supply chain. So if your FVA plot looks like this, you can safely fire all your forecasters as they are producing 0 value add. Any straight line forecast has 0 value add, so this guy can achieve it easily. If your FVA plot looks like this, I should fire all your forecasters because they found a way of cooking the books. This level of FVA can't be achieved. If your FVA plot looks like this, I should fire all your forecasters. They're just wildly guessing and destroying your business. However, this FVA plot indicates brilliant forecasting, and I should give your forecasters a healthy bonus. They're saving you a fortune. In summary, forecast accuracy only measures noise. It doesn't tell you what your forecasts have achieved compared to the demand variability hitting your supply chain. If you really want to see what your forecasters are achieving, then compare what goes into the forecast process with what comes out, i.e. forecast value add, COV. Combine this with bias measurement and you have the compass that can guide you to real forecast improvements, and to know when you are wasting your time because there are no significant signals to forecast in the first place.